Welcome to the Mother Herd Podcast with Denise Waters.
I am Denise with the Mother Herd, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the jobs that I have in my life and the jobs that I started my life with. So, just to continue on the story of who I am before I was a mom and who I am now. So, I think about starting work in my mom's office and always going into work with her. And I was young, but I was really good at making coffee and filing maps and um, doing payroll and billing and all of those things. When you have a company that is your family's, you learn how to do a lot of things. And I was really fortunate to be able to do that. Later, when I was a teacher, I had my kids come to my school with me. And as a principal, Mason came to my school with me. And I don't know if I would do it the same way again if I had it to do over again. Mason really shared with us later on that he didn't know who the people who were friends with him because of who he was, or who was friends with him because I was the principal. So that was a really interesting time for us to figure out. And moving down here to Arizona, where I wasn't in a building as a principal or teacher, and having him just have that experience on his own has been pretty interesting. I would even say when I went to therapy and I said something about the boys being at my school with me, and she was like, and I was like, oh, does that make us a little bit enmeshed? Yes. Would I do that part differently? No, because we had moved and we really did need to be with each other. Or even when they were little and Cooper had just started school, he came up to my school and was with me up there, which I wouldn't trade that for the world. I remember trying to figure out what I was going to do with the boys when we found out that Tim was deploying again. And I was like, there's no way I can go to daycare and school and my school all in the same morning. And I was really fortunate because my principal at the time said, we have kindergarten. And so I was lucky enough to be able to bring Thatcher up, and he did first grade. And then Cooper was able to do pre-K in the morning and kindergarten in the afternoon and hang out in my office in between. That was a great job. I loved working in small town America and supporting the kids and families there in a really small school. I still see the impact of that today. Friends with a couple of those kids on Facebook and getting to see their journey, seeing them as parents has been really remarkable and something I'm really proud that I was a part of. I've had other jobs. Tim and I met when we worked at Eddie Bauer, which was really a powerful place and probably even still the best place we've ever worked. We worked really hard and we had people who loved us and supported us a lot. I may tell this story more than once, but it has really stuck with me. We had these two friends, Katie and Wendy, who did a job share. And I remember going into my boss, Betty, and saying, I am working so hard. I am doing all the things and I am delivering on what I need to deliver on. And Katie and Wendy are here part-time and I'm having a hard time getting what I need from them. And she said, well, that seems out of character. Like, tell me more about that. And I said, well, on Wednesdays is our crossover day. And that's the day I know that we need different things. And so I work on it and I get it over to them. And then I don't hear back. And she asked, well, when are you expecting to hear back? And I was like, well, on Wednesday. And she's like, no, they have a life. They are parents and they leave. And it is expected that they leave when their day is over. She even said, and I would challenge you to watch them. They are much more productive than the rest of you are on any given day because they know that their time at work is limited because they are having to get to daycare and get home to the kids. And I saw that and I really watched for a while and I changed my system. And rather than sending an email to them after they had gone home and expecting it to be turned around overnight, I got in a flow that worked for their schedule as well as mine. But it's something that I've held on to because this was before I was married, before we had kids, and knowing those boundaries and how we want to show up with our families and with our jobs is really important. And I am so fortunate that Katie and Wendy were an example to teach me that lesson. I really am fortunate for that. Went on to do this crazy work that we did at VoiceStream and becoming T-Mobile and gosh, thinking we were on top of the world. There was money to burn. There were flights that went anywhere, and we just lived large and put really amazing things into the world. And I'm so excited about where that industry has gotten because we were on the cutting edge of it. And I can't imagine a way to learn pace and innovation other than the way we did it. And so that prepared me for a lot of my future work as well. And then, of course, teaching and principaling. It is a trip of a job. And I don't know if I'm made for it. I think about the very best people I know who are teachers and principals, and they are different from me. They roll with the punches a little bit better. They're a little bit less emotional. They can put things in boxes and compartments a little bit better than I can. I've always loved a little bit too much or tried a little bit too hard to fix everything for everybody, and that doesn't always work. Just this week, we had a funny story about a project we're working on, and people are having to travel not on a work day. And my coworker was saying, well, we need to really make sure that we're looking out for that and that we have a plan. And I was like, really? Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I get it. That's what we do as educators. But man, like, I traveled so much when I was with T-Mobile. I didn't even know what city I was in, let alone what day of the week it was. And I was on salary and I was just expected to do that work and to put in the hours that it took to get the work done. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it did create a way of working that I like. I'm very project driven. I'm very results oriented, and I will do the extra things that need to happen to get things to happen. And I'll play when it's time to play. So it's just an interesting concept to be so tied to a clock or a calendar that I'm still learning that at this rough old age of 52. So learning and changing and experiencing things as we go. But right, to talk about that at the same time as to think about Wendy and Katie's schedule and how that worked for them. I have a wider range of understanding about people who need to look at their work that way. I've just been fortunate that in my career, I've been able to really use my skills to put in as much time and effort as needed and wanted. And right now doing multiple things, both with the Mother Herd and with Denise Lee Waters, separately from the Mother Herd, as well as then my job at ASU, being able to work multiple hours, multiple times of the day, being able to enjoy time on weekends, writing, all of that feels really good right now. If you don't know about my other pieces of work, I just want to draw your attention to deniseleewaters.com. It is the home of my writing, as well as coaching and speaking, and really all my creative avenues live over there. And my work for the Mother Herd is really about my story as a mom, and then how do we bring other moms into the conversation. So check that out. I think it's a very cool space in the interwebs for you to learn more about me and my story and my fictional characters who I love and adore, and I can't wait for you to meet when the book comes out sooner than I'm probably ready. So that is a little bit of a walk down memory lane about my jobs. the question that I would ask is what job best prepared me for motherhood? And I would say the job that impacted me the most as a mom was my work at T-Mobile. Remembering having those boys in a pack and play at work and then deciding to take a leave of absence because Tim was in Iraq and realizing that my not worth, but my persona was really tied up in the work that I did at T-Mobile, and I liked the attention, and I liked the accolades, and I liked the performative and outcome nature of it, so that I could check things off and I could go big and then be done. Motherhood is not like that. It is full tilt, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And I just read today, and your happiness is in direct alignment to the happiness of your most unhappy child, or something like that. But that idea that, like, especially with three, not all three of them are going to be high performing at the same time or happy at the same time. And so how do you meet their needs where they are as young adults and as teenagers, so that your life matters and how you support them matters as well? So that was a really interesting reflection time for me, to see the difference between that type of work and the type of work that motherhood is. I loved that fast-paced aspect of it. And I think I've been searching for that ever since. And so that's why the motherhood retreats are so exciting for me. And I can't wait to host people here, to work on our stories and our writing, and to really do those big and then be done with them and then have another one in the future, because I really do enjoy that piece of it. With parenting, I really feel like I sometimes want to push the pause button and not have to respond to every group chat that comes through. And I do that sometimes now, but I don't think it feels right quite yet. And then the next question I would ask myself as a guest is, what kind of jobs do you hope that your children have in the future, if you were to be able to help them determine that? And that is so easy for me. I want them to have the freedom and the money to be able to travel and to spend time with the people they want to. And so if the job gets them that, awesome. Or if the job gets them the money and time to be able to do that, awesome. The biggest thing that I don't want is for them to be in a career where they feel like they only can take 2 weeks of vacation a year and that's the only time they can have fun. I want them to have fun every single day, because I think that makes us all better and brighter, and the world a better place because of it. Thatcher right now is off in the Army, and I think is experiencing finding people in his life that are so supportive of him and so excited for him on this journey, in a way that he hasn't experienced before. Cooper is just finishing up college and looking for jobs, and is probably the most in the weeds right now about figuring out the next step. And then Mason is just putting together some college dreams, and I love that as well. So I do hope that they find something that they can spend their time and their money in a way that just brings them a lot of joy. And finally, today, I want to talk about the future and what it looks like when it's just Tim and I here at the house and Mason's gone and all of that. And that is why I'm laying the groundwork here of the motherhood and of my writing career, because I want to be able to be that snowbird that I made fun of back in the day when I was in college, and being able to be up in Washington and over in California when it matters. You can write anywhere, you can podcast from anywhere, and you can see moms everywhere. And I want to be able to do that full time. So putting in the work now so that that can really be the dream of the future. I do hope that my fiction books take off as much as my nonfiction writing, because I just can't wait for everybody to meet Florence and her family and be able to just share that story with the world. So that is what I have for today. I am Denise Lee Waters with Mother Herd, and I thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us for the Mother Herd podcast. Please subscribe and like so that we can keep bringing you more episodes.